Hi guys, I'm so excited to join you today. My name is Crystal Agu. I am an assistant professor of dermatology and director of the ethnic skin program at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine.
Hi, I'm Renee Martin, and equally psyched and glad to be here with everyone. I am the executive producer of PS260 in Boston. I am biracial. Biological father is African American, biological mother is Caucasian. So I have mixed ethnicity style hair. And growing up and being adopted into a white home, and my mother being white, she struggled and definitely never really conquered my hair. So when I initially watched the short, it felt like a day in the life with me and my mother. I didn't necessarily take it to a place of a father. I took it to a place of here's someone who doesn't understand how to do this hair. And here I am revisiting my youth of wondering if I could love what was on my head.
I grew up, I have a Nigerian background and I have very tightly curled hair. And my story is that from the time I was 4 years old, my mom put a relaxer in my hair, and then very quickly I began to wear braids. And I grew up knowing that no one could really ever see my real hair, which meant including me. So I would have instances, so like a braiding session is like 6 to 8 hours. So imagine that as a kid, right? And I would take my hair out on a Friday and we would go to the braiding lady's house at like Sunday at 11 p.m., knowing that if my braids were not in, we would be kept home from school. So like there was a lot of, this like really, again, this strong desire to hide the hair and some shame, right? That like your hair is really supposed to look a certain way to be considered professional. So as a young child, you don't want your hair to be a distraction.
Ultimately, what I took from it was a lot of excitement that an animated short like that could be produced, for one, which is remarkable, um, and that it got the accolades and especially the Academy Award, which it deserved. To know so many people were behind it, and that at a time, I think, when we needed to see strong families, strong relationships, and also celebrate the love of self and also the love of hair. I was very excited that it came out and got the attention that it got, especially coming from a film craft world. I felt it was very special. Yes.
Yeah. I started to develop an interest in hair care just simply off of the fact that I needed something to tell my patients and I needed to educate my patients, and I didn't know anything about how to take care of black hair either. And that eventually led me to research it a lot and write a textbook on it. And so I co-wrote the first textbook on the science of black hair for dermatologists. So when I watch the video, I think that a lot of people look and they say, oh my God, here's a dad who doesn't know how to do a daughter's hair. But what I think people really should realize is that could be anyone. Yeah. There are a lot of mothers, black mothers, who don't know how to style their daughter's hair because for many of us, we're taught to hide our hair away. And so when I watched that video, I was like, well, that was me. I was the dad. And the fact that the dad could watch the video once and get the hairstyle perfect, I was like, well, that's impressive, because I know that I'm still struggling to figure that out. So that was kind of that's kind of the story that I took away from it. Like, yeah, this is really tough. And even he came out with the best case scenario, when in reality, for a lot of women, like even that styling piece is still so hard to figure out. Hair loss is probably one of the most emotionally devastating conditions in all of dermatology. There are studies that show that women who are undergoing chemotherapy, that about 10 to 15% will reject or seriously consider not accepting chemotherapy because of the potential for hair loss. Right? So that is how emotionally significant losing the hair can be, particularly for women. If you are single and you're trying to date, then you've lost your hair. It literally touches every part of your life: professional, social, family. I have women who have forms of permanent hair loss, who've been married for 20 plus years and their spouse has never seen their hair or their head.
Mm.
I find that like we have so much further to go, and I think that we really have to do a better job of really truly embracing all hair types as beautiful, not just in name but in practice.
Mm.
And when we do that, and that has to be across the entire population, everyone has to recognize like truly tightly curled natural hair, whether it's locked or short in a little choppy fro, as beautiful.
Yeah.
Because until then, what I tell my students, the reason I say, hey, like, it's not the time to experiment with your hair, because I want them to see you. And too many people continue to see Black hair as a distraction.
What a lot of people don't realize is, we throw out the word discrimination, everyone's discriminating, and that you can go to HR and say someone has said this and file a report. But why aren't people talking more about the microaggressions out there?
Mm.
I hear so many things, and that kind of goes to, Crystal's point of like, are we there yet? Can we, are we at a point where it's almost Jim Crow for hair, where we're all just trying to pass until we can open up that door and then show our true selves?
And we, like in medical field, we need representation desperately. So as a mentor, I still have to give that advice.
Growing up, everything I've had to adapt to, products, things, had people on it that did not look like me or represent me, especially as someone who's kind of in the middle of the shade spectrum. I always wondered where I fit in. Hair is a big topic that Black women talk about. You sit in a chair anywhere from 3 to 8 to 10 hours a weekend getting your hair done. You go through college and you can be a beautician. You probably get like, because you're doing your friend's hair, you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on your hair, while maybe your white counterpart can just run their fingers through it and let it air dry and it's good to go. And maybe the biggest problem is a blowout.
This is why, as we're working to change things, I want people to do what they need to do to get in. All that I do with my work, like I do so much research, but one of the most popular lectures that I give is teaching dermatologists around the country about Black hair. Seriously, weaves, relaxers, going natural, and talking to them. And we need more people like me who get it to educate, because people want to learn. People of all backgrounds want to learn. There is a huge thirst for knowledge, and so we have to increase representation. And over time, I think that that education will take place.
I'm actually wearing this hairstyle today to kind of remind me of what I would wear as a child that I didn't like. But now as an adult, I can embrace, because this is just what happens to it.